He has shot less than 70% from the free throw line. Kevin Durant is 85 plus. The brother is a marksman extraordinaire.
No
and when I look at it from that perspective, I just think offensively there are levels to this, and LeBron ain't on that level. It's no knock against LeBron. It speaks to the level of eliteness that Kevin Durant has. He's one player.
But the Laker team lose all these close games in the fourth quarter. We couldn't win.
Something unusual just happened in the LeBron James debate. Two voices from completely different corners of the basketball world ended up agreeing. And these weren't just any two names. Stephen A. Smith and Magic Johnson shared the exact same opinion about LeBron James. The moment that clip started making the rounds, fans didn't just respond, they erupted. Because when two people who rarely see eye to eye suddenly agree on a criticism of LeBron, it grabs everyone's attention. The conversation quickly became much bigger than the usual debate. It felt like something fans couldn't simply ignore. And that's exactly why it's trending right now. It's not only about what was said, it's about who said it. Stephen A. built his reputation on passionate, outspoken opinions, while Magic speaks from the perspective of a player who understands greatness at the highest level. So when both of them highlight the same concern about LeBron, fans are left wondering whether they should take it seriously or fight back against it. Most fans had already made their choice, and they chose to push back.
How many times? Listen, like I told you before, we could joke around and disagree about the GOAT conversation between MJ and LeBron James. LeBron James is one of the greatest top 2-3 players in the history of this damn game. Mm-hmm. He is that sensational. I feel sorry for him so many times when I see him kicking it out to three-point shooters and they can't make it.
The discussion focused on one topic that has followed LeBron James throughout his entire career, his mindset in the biggest moments. Nobody questions his talent, his accomplishments, or his incredible longevity. Those have never really been up for debate. The real conversation is about whether he's the kind of player who always takes control when everything is on the line. That's the point where Stephen A. Smith and Magic Johnson found themselves in agreement. Once that topic came back into the spotlight, it reignited one of basketball's biggest debates. But here's what many people overlook. This isn't a new criticism. It's been part of the LeBron conversation for years, and it keeps resurfacing because new moments continue to fuel it. Whether it's a viral clip, a late-game decision, or even his body language during a key possession, fans are always searching for proof to either support or challenge that narrative. And when someone like Magic Johnson hints at the same concern, it carries far more weight than when it comes from an ordinary analyst.
One of the first people to make sure that I say that. LeBron James had never in his career been a third option until this year. Yet he accepted it and was still the leader and the winner that he was.
Stephen A. Smith delivered his point the way he usually does, passionate, direct, and full of energy. He questioned whether LeBron always approaches defining moments with the same mindset as some of the game's other legends. Magic Johnson took a much calmer approach, but his message carried just as much weight. He wasn't disrespecting LeBron or dismissing his accomplishments. Instead, he suggested that LeBron's greatness looks different from the players he's constantly compared with. To many fans, though, that sounded more like a backhanded compliment than praise. That's where the conversation starts to take a different turn. The moment people begin talking about a different kind of greatness, the debate quickly shifts into comparisons. Before long, Michael Jordan enters the discussion, then Kobe Bryant. Suddenly, the focus is on whether LeBron is one of the greatest players ever. The only question becomes whether he's the greatest. And once the debate reaches that level, even the smallest criticism gets blown into something much bigger.
No, Vogel's going to take some of this blame.
No question.
Right? They're going to point the finger at him. And this is what's really bothers me, Molly and Stephen A. This season was never about.
The fans wasted no time pushing back. One side immediately criticized Stephen A. Smith, arguing that he always finds a reason to question LeBron, no matter what he does. Others were more surprised by Magic Johnson's comments. When someone from LeBron's own circle of basketball legends offers criticism, it carries a different kind of weight. It no longer feels like media debate. It feels like the perspective of someone who has lived the game at the highest level. That's why this moment resonated with so many people. Here's what often gets overlooked. LeBron may be the only player in NBA history whose willingness to be unselfish is sometimes treated as a weakness. Think about that. Most stars are criticized for taking too many shots, forcing difficult looks, or refusing to trust their teammates. LeBron, on the other hand, is often criticized for trusting his teammates too much. That's what makes the situation so unusual. His basketball IQ tells him to make the smartest play, but fans don't always want the smartest play. They want the most dramatic one.
In his very last game, possibly as a Laker, I don't think for 1 second he's retiring. He had 24 points and 44% shooting and 14 rebounds. 24 and 14. In his 23rd season for the top scorer in the history of basketball. Can't say enough about it. You got to give credit where credit is due.
This is where many people misunderstand how the game is judged. They assume it's all about results. But in reality, perception matters just as much. LeBron can make the smartest basketball play possible. Yet if it doesn't look like complete dominance, people still question it. That's been the story of his career. That's also why comments from Stephen A., Smith, and Magic Johnson carry so much weight. They reinforce a perception that has followed LeBron for years. And if we're being honest, part of the reason fans reacted so strongly is because they fought against this argument countless times before. Supporters point to his game winners, legendary playoff performances, and unforgettable elimination games as proof that the criticism doesn't hold up. So when the same discussion resurfaces, especially from respected voices like these, it feels like the debate is stuck on repeat. But here's the interesting part. The fact that this conversation still exists after everything LeBron has accomplished may actually say more about his legacy than the criticism itself. Very few players are judged by such an emotional standard. With LeBron, it's never just about the numbers or the championships. It's also about how those moments looked, how they felt, and how they compare with legends from different generations. That makes the discussion even more complicated. Magic Johnson isn't just another analyst. He represents an era where a superstar's identity was closely tied to taking complete control in the biggest moments. So when he talked about LeBron, he's not simply evaluating a player. He's viewing him through a different basketball philosophy. Stephen A., meanwhile, turns that philosophical difference into a headline. That's what he does best. When he speaks, the conversation doesn't stay quiet. It spreads across the basketball world almost instantly. Here's what often gets overlooked. Fans aren't only defending LeBron. They're defending the way they believe basketball should be understood. If LeBron's style is viewed as missing something, then years of arguments in his favor suddenly come under attack. That's why the reaction becomes so emotional. It's about more than one player. It's about what he represents. And, of course, the GOAT debate is always waiting in the background. The moment anyone questions LeBron's mentality, even slightly, it immediately becomes fuel for the other side. That's exactly what happened here. Old clips resurfaced, quotes were pulled out, and the internet did what it always does. It turned one shared opinion into a massive debate. That's where moments like these become important. Not because they're automatically true, but because they're repeated over and over. The more often people hear the same criticism, the more it becomes part of how a player's career is remembered. That's simply how modern sports conversations evolve. At the same time, this entire situation proves something else. Even at this stage of his career, LeBron remains the center of the basketball world. Everything he does and everything people say about him still drives the biggest conversations in the sport. That level of attention doesn't happen by chance. It happens because his career has had that much impact. So the real question is this. If basketball legends like Magic Johnson and media figures like Stephen A. Smith are pointing to the same concern, is there something fans are refusing to acknowledge? Or is this simply another example of LeBron being judged by standards that no other player has to meet? One thing is certain. The debate isn't ending anytime soon. And the louder it becomes, the more will shape how this era of basketball is remembered.